So we've seen some price stability in recent days with Bitcoin in particular. That said, it is still stuck at this $20,000 price level. What's the catalyst that gets us out?
Yeah, I think part of it is the passage of time. There is still an aspect in crypto that we're waiting to see if another shoe will drop, right? If another entity will fail, if the credit cascade will continue. I think we have to get through the 4th of July weekend, get through that quiet period on the market before we build in the second half of the year. So that's part of it. The other piece, there's some catalysts out there that could help or hurt the market, right? We have a decision upcoming on a spot Bitcoin ETF. We had continued progress on Ethereum in its march towards the merge. But really, I think it's just waiting to get through this 4th of July weekend. I think we build in the second half of the year, and the sooner we get there, the better.
So Bitcoin has seen a comeback in terms of trading volume. Some people say, hey, this may ultimately translate into higher prices. Is there a knock-on effect for altcoins?
Yeah, I think there really is. In fact, we've seen strong performance in altcoins like Ethereum and Cosmos and Matic have been doing extremely well. I think what investors have realized is that they need to be in the crypto market and they're waiting to see signs of that bottom and then they're going to jump in. But actually, some of the altcoins have even stronger catalysts than Bitcoin to rebound faster. I mentioned earlier Ethereum lining up for the merge. I think people have been very impressed with the performance of Uniswap as a key piece of the DeFi ecosystem that's been functioning extremely well and generating very high fees. So I think there are some coins outside of Bitcoin that may bounce higher and faster than Bitcoin once we get to the other side of this bottoming process.
And we have seen some success in the DeFi space in the midst of this downturn. You mentioned some names that you're looking out for. Is there anything else we should be taking note of in terms of the decentralized finance ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, one amazing thing is that it's worked so well. This has been an extreme stress test. And the vast majority of blue chip entities in the DeFi ecosystem, the Uniswaps, the Aves, the compounds, have been working with no issues. It's really the centralized finance crypto entities that have been failing. I think what you'll see is a focus of investor attention on those blue chip chips. Remember, those are key building blocks of the decentralized financial future. And the ability to buy something like Uniswap 80 or 90% off its all-time highs is a really unique thing, given how much progress that entity has made over the past years. It's an incredible opportunity for long-term oriented buyers.
And so you do think that retail investors should be, shopping at a discount right now?
I do if your time frame is 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. If your time frame is a week or a month or even a quarter, I think there's still significant volatility, right? I mentioned people waiting to see if another shoe will drop. There's still, of course, major macro uncertainty in the market in terms of what the Fed is doing, but the underlying structures are working extremely well. This is a great stress test to see, can DeFi hold up during one of the worst sort of contractions, most violent pullbacks we've seen in crypto's history? And the answer is the best projects are holding up extremely well. So if you have a time horizon measured in years, yes, this is a great opportunity to think about entering the market.
So in terms of the types of cryptocurrencies that are best poised to handle this winter that we're in right now, is it your layer 2 chains built on top of something like an Ethereum where there's that symbiotic relationship there? Or is it about back to basics of layer 1, an isolated cryptocurrency that can stand on its own?
Yeah, we talk to financial advisors and investment professionals, institutions all the time. I was on the road for most of the last 2 months talking to those investors. I will say that Ethereum, above all other assets, stands out to them. It has elements of being a blue chip, but it's the foundation on which NFTs, DeFi, and stablecoins are being built. And so instead of trying to pick and choose a winner in that ecosystem, a lot of those institutional and professional investors want to make sure they have exposure to Ethereum coming out of this bear market. Beyond that, you can look at the areas where we think there'll be major growth. Layer 2 solutions are a good answer there. And again, blue chip DeFi protocols are probably the other piece. You could take those 3 ideas and build sort of a next generation blue chip portfolio. Maybe it's Ethereum, Matic, Uniswap, Aave, and that would be a pretty interesting portfolio to own as we start to recover from this bear market and move into the next crypto bull cycle.
So we've practically reached the end of the first half of 2022. For some people, it took a completely unexpected turn in terms of price movements. What are your thoughts? What's your outlook for the next 6 months? Or alternatively, how are you bracing for total unpredictability in terms of where we head?
Yeah, as mentioned, I think the next week or so could be very interesting. A lot of cross currents. I'm bracing for short-term volatility. I do think as we get to the second half of the year, I'm very bullish. I think the merge on Ethereum, continued progress on regulation, getting through this rough patch will lead toward a bull market in crypto in general. Will we get back to the old all-time highs this year? I'm skeptical of that. But even if Bitcoin can go from $20,000 to $30,000, that's a 50% gain. And you could see that amplified in other altcoins. You sort of have to scrap the prices of the past, at least in the short term, realize where we are. But I do think, the underlying fundamentals are strong. The core ecosystem is working. Once we clear through this credit and liquidity cascade, it's probably driven overselling in the market. I think there could be a pretty sharp, strong rebound in the second half of the year, but don't expect it to be smooth. It's a volatile market. It will be volatile in the future.
In terms of that solvency crunch that we're seeing at some major projects right now, what are you keeping your eye on? Is there something that people haven't spoken about yet that you think is a pressure point in the crypto ecosystem?
Yeah, my personal view is it only matters if the entities that are running into issues are getting bigger and bigger, right? So there are a number of smaller entities that will likely face challenges. They probably have worse risk controls. We're taking more exogenous risk, and we'll continue to see those fail. What matters from an ecosystem perspective is we see the contagion move up and claim an entity like a BlockFi or another major sort of blue chip name. My guess is those are well-run entities that will make it through this, but that's what investors should be keeping their eye on, not the 19th small project that no one had heard of before and is suddenly making headlines. I don't think that really matters. The question is there another giant entity that succumbs to this credit crisis? And we'll find that out, I would guess, probably over this weekend.
So the Three Arrows Capital loan default this week didn't really shake you up at all?
Well, that was a major one, but we knew about that about a week ago, right? I mean, that was another large entity. If you think about Celsius to Three Arrows, arguably that's a bigger step up if you consider all the leverage they had in the ecosystem. Something like CoinFlex pausing withdrawals, I'm not sure shakes the ecosystem in the same way, right? It's more, do we go bigger from there that you have to worry about?